All right. Hey, let's go over here, man.
Okay. I guess we have to explain who this guy is. His name is Carty Talkington, and I've known Carty since I guess we just figured out he was a junior in high school. And then he was a big Reverend Horton Heat fan from the very beginning. He used to actually come see me play in a band I was in called the Polytones before Reverend Horton Heat. Then what's kind of important to Reverend Horton Heat and our fans is that Carty made the movie Love in a 45. He wrote, directed, produced it, got the whole thing together, and it was a really fun thing for us to do, and that was years later. And
you guys were in it, obviously, in the infamous strip bar scene.
We were in the strip bar scene. That was great because you had all these. He hired these strippers because it was a strip bar scene, and there was these girls dancing around while they were filming, and we were up there on the stage, and these girls were like, they'd look at us in between takes and, does my hair look all right? And I'd be going, oh, your hair. Oh, that looks great. Yeah, you know.
That's true. Hey, let's go see Russell Hobbs.
All right, let's go.
Man we've been talking to.
We'll see the door.
So here we are.
Here we are. Yeah, this is. I was talking about Russell Hobbs because he, gave me the name in my first gig, Reverend Horton Heat gig, and this is his new place, or newer than his latest thing, the Door. And I guess it'd be really good. We can't go any further unless we go talk to Russell himself and find out what he has to say about this whole thing that he helped me start. So let's go inside. We're going in the door.
In the door of the door. All right. Well, now here we are at the door with the proprietor, Russell Hobbs, who I think you've all heard a bit about in our tour around Deep Ellum. And we thought we'd come here and get the straight story from Russell. First question I'm going to ask, just out of curiosity, is the the rumor is true that you actually named Jim's band and sort of.
Well, the way I remember it, okay, is that Jim was great. He was in Deep Ellum way back in the beginning, living here. I mean, to me, I respect people that lived in the scene and really gave up the whole, Ritchie, North Dallas scene for the art scene of creating Deep Ellum, and he was there and sacrificing, and he was actually doing sound sometimes, and he was going through a thing with his wife. Remember, you and your wife were in a band called the Polytones, and then y'all were splitting up. And then he wrote these songs. We were just sitting out in the backyard at the Prophet Bar, hanging out, smoking, if you got them.
Yeah.
And he'd say, man, listen to this new song. And it was like that one, where in the hell did you go with my toothbrush? I'm not going to sing, I'm just going to say the words, Yeah. But I love that song. I still love it. Anyway, he started playing just solo. And so what happened then was remember the Beat Orgy? We opened up with the Chili Peppers.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And we had the drummer, the New Bohemians, and Shallow Rain, and Three on a Hill, and Jeff Lyles, and Jim, and all these people were in this big band. And that night I saw him singing Folsom Prison Blues up there, and he had just started doing this solo stuff, and his nose was kind of bumping on the microphone. And I don't know why, I just thought Horton Heat, it just hit me like that. And Horton Foote was shooting this movie in
Waxahachie.
So the name Horton was probably in my head. You know what I mean? So I remember saying, man, Horton Heat and everything. Now then, he started playing Monday nights at the Prophet Bar, and then he got the bass player, Jack, and the drummer, and they started packing the Prophet Bar on Monday nights. It was the coolest thing.
It was Monday nights. I was thinking it was Thursdays. It was Monday nights. That's right, every Monday, yeah.
But everybody was dancing. I mean, it was a scene. It was very real, authentic. It was gutsy. It was artsy. It was really cool. Then this guy, Elvis from Hell, was this guy, Tom Battle's little brother.
John Battles. Mm-hmm.
And he made a flyer when you were going to play with Screamin' Jay Hawkins. We flew Screamin' Jay in, and your band was going to play with him. And he put the Reverend on there. So I didn't think of the Reverend part. This Horton Heat was my thing, and then Battle's little brother comes up with Reverend Horton Heat, so it just became a phenomenon, And then I remember sitting in the backyard. This is like we sat in the backyard before, we sat in the backyard after, and all the way in between, we'd sit in the backyard hanging out. And Jim's like, hey, man, I'm a reverend playing at the Prophet. You know what I mean? Because the club was called the Prophet Bar.
What were some of your impressions of Jim, like back then? Because you guys were together. He was living there. You were
right.
doing your thing. We've talked all about your thing, by the way.
Yeah, we were friends before he became the big rock star. I mean, he was doing sound at the Theater Gallery with his dog. on a leash at the soundboard and had earplugs in his smoke his ears, standing there doing these, you know.
In the dog's ears, he had earplugs.
And here he was. Check this out. Here's this guy. Now everybody knows what the talent he's got of songwriting, you know, concepts, guitar playing, all this stuff that is in his artistry. But he's standing there doing sound for all these 18-year-old suburban little wannabe rock bands.
Yeah.
That must have been tough.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of, because a lot of them, you know, were so built up, and they, you know, and now it helps me now because I really appreciate these guys that do sound and work crew, because, you know, when I was doing that, people would, you know, treat me like I was, you know, lower than the caterer, you know. And so, but you know, I mean, that was, you know, that was good for me because I got to be part of something that was way cool. You know, I mean, I didn't always do sound for. Sometimes you just rent part of my PA and I'd help get things, but you did some great shows. The Replacements, remember that? And the Chili Peppers and Husker Du.
Yeah, we had a lot of good shows.
Flaming
I remember your PA sat in the theater gallery a long time.
Yeah.
We probably didn't even pay you for that, did we?
Oh no, you
Yes, we
paid
did.
me.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah, you paid me something like $100 a week.
The
It
thing
was
is,
great.
the scene back then, it's like all these people came together, and there was this vibe that we weren't really doing it to make it in the music business. We weren't doing it for money. We sure as hell weren't doing it to impress record companies. We were doing it because it was something really cool.
Yeah.
You know, you were there.
Yeah, no, I know.
And what happened was the synergy in that became something that spit out Reverend Horton Heat and the New Bohemians and other things. And it's you can't quite describe how that happens, but we were living for something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Well, you know, it was one thing that was cool about Theater Gallery is that it was a melding of all these different people, and so you would have a play in the afternoon,
Right.
and then I'd have to set up real quick for a rock band that night, and so there was this big, you know, I'd be having to deal with these people who might be doing some kind of crazy fashion show or some
Or plays.
play.
There was lots of plays going
Plays,
on,
and
yeah.
these guys would be, you know, kind of pissy, running around going, "No, you can't do that there. Move that, move that." I'm going, "Hell, I'm not going to move that." And
Don't touch my poodle.
Right, and everything, and so, but you know, it kind of forced everybody to kind of appreciate each other more, you know. And I mean, the cool thing about me too is it kind of opened my eyes to the whole art world, like not just theater and music, of course, but art, paintings, and things like that, because you had so many great, you know, unknown back then. Some of them are really well known now, but artists and it was all kind of together, and
it was a cool time, and it spit out a lot of cool stuff, like you were saying.
well, like the Door.
Yeah,
you know?
like the Door, exactly.
This place reminds me a lot of Theater Gallery.
Yeah, it
It
does.
is much like it, isn't it?
And you know what? I think we got to get back over to the stage to get ready for this big show tonight. Actually,
Okay.
Big show tonight.
Yeah, the big show.
All right.
But
Well,
I'm really glad.
I'm going to be coming out doing a number with Horton.
Well, you
tonight.
should. And thanks for letting us come by and like
You're
talk
very
and stuff.
welcome.
It was really, you know,
It's good to see you, Cardi.
good to see you too,
Thanks,
man.
man.
Yeah,
It's good to see
thanks,
you, too.
Russell. I owe you a lot, man. I really do appreciate it, man. Thanks.
No, you don't owe me nothing.